This episode, I want to talk about specifically asking yourself the question, what is your normal? What is your normal? What is your normal determines what you can become. And the definition of what is your normal is what you believe yourself to be. Okay? If your normal is at a low level, low base, you rather just sit around and play video games or do Netflix and chill and all that. Any type of effort or work outside of that is your limit, because your normal is to just chill and not do much. So when you're required to do more, what do? You complain, you bitch, you procrastinate, you because it's putting you out of your normal. Yo, what is up, everybody? This is the End-to-End Podcast, and I am your host, Dr. Youngwin, affectionately called the Ninja. This is the End-to-End Podcast, the Alpha to the Omega, the beginning to the end, talking about life, motivation, drive, entrepreneurship, success, self-improvement, and offering you morsels in this all-you-can-eat buffet called life. Back in the studio. My gosh, it's been a whirlwind week. We're actually recording this a little early because of travel requirements, but glad to be back in the studio. And if you're new to the show, or if you already know the show, as you all know, or you will know, I always start each episode as I start each day, and that is with an expression of gratitude. And so thankful for everyone out there in podcast land that have listened to the show, followed the show, commented on the show, liked it, and most importantly, shared the show. I do this on my own dime and on my own time. So, there are no sponsors to the show. So I make a personal investment to share my ideas and spread the word, hopefully to inspire at least one person, if not billions of people across this planet. And you all in my audience are part of that tribe, trying to spread the word of inspiration around the planet. So thank you so much for all of you out there who share the show. And if you're new to the show, or if you follow the show, as you know, this is on a value exchange deal. So if you've learned something, found it entertaining, even just improved your life 0.0001% better than before after listening to the show, made you feel better, laughed, whatever. If that's happened, then please do share the show, this episode or any other past episode. I like to say, if your knowledge swole, share the show. That's how we grow. And let me before I move on, let me just say that I tell you that I start the show with gratitude, not as an expression for myself, but as an example to you. Because if you listen to the original episode 1, it was all about gratitude. And why is that important? Because you can't have negative vibrations if you're grateful. That's a scientific fact. So when you're grateful, you bring out all the positivity that you have within you, regardless of how you feel. And then you get to build momentum off that. So I express the gratitude all the time. Speaking of gratitude, thank you all for tuning in to that last episode 66 with Caitlin Veverka, who talked about her life and how this podcast directly in using the principles I've talked about, positively inspired her and influenced her life to put her in the direction that she's living more fulfilled. Going from a drug abusing teen all the way to a succeeding entrepreneur professional in her field of choice. This podcast was very integral in that transition. And so you all out there really honed in on that message and have liked and followed and shared that particular episode. So I want to thank you for that. And just to show you that this podcast isn't for older people, it's for younger people as well. And so you can apply it regardless of where you are in your life. You can just listen to this podcast and see if it can inspire you. So for that, I feel good, because it is, driving into the mission of this podcast of inspiring people. And if I just inspire one, such as Caitlin, then I know that the money and time spent on this is well worth it. And the last thing I'll say about that is that any of the listeners out there, if this podcast has directly changed your life, please do reach out and let us know. And, it's possible, very possible, that you could be invited on the show to talk about your testimony on how this podcast and the principles that I talk about have changed your life. So please do reach out to us, especially if this podcast has directly influenced your life in a very positive way. Please let us know. I love to hear those stories. It encourages me to even bring more to the table for you all. And so it's very, very positive feedback. In any case, this episode might be a little bit short. I don't know, just because of time constraints. But this episode, I want to talk about specifically asking yourself the question, what is your normal? What is your normal? And the reason I ask that is because recently, for many of you all new to the podcast or have listened a while, you all know that I have a teenage boy, 16 years old, that is, he's fairly proficient in basketball. So he's wanting to pursue his passion, his dream of, playing college and beyond as potentially a pro. And everybody knows it takes a lot of work to be elite and do something exceptional as that. And it's a combination of a lot of things. It's the physical, it's the skills, it's the intangible things, grit, determination, willingness to work, etc. The statistics are less than 3-4% of all high school players make it to play college at any level. And so when in a group of 100, when there's 96, 97 people not making it, that tells you what type of work is required to become that specialized or elite. Okay? So I tell you that because before the last couple weeks, he would train, 3 to 4 hours a day over the summertime. Sometimes weight, sometimes skills, etc. 3 to 4 times a day. And I would say he was pushing himself, but he didn't know what his limit was. Recently, now that the AAU season or the summer ball season has finished, he engaged some trainers and such that now he's putting in 6 to 8 hours a day, full-time job, basically, every day, sometimes on the weekend. So this would be his schedule, for example. Training with pros and college players and other elite players from 7 to 9. Working out at the esteemed 369 Sports and Fitness Gym in Houston, Texas with Tim, I think I'm pronouncing it right, Boutte, who will be a guest on this podcast from 9:30 to 11:30. And I'm not talking about light workouts. These are heavy lifting, functional workouts with the same college and pro guys. Sometimes he goes from 10:30 to 12 on college training with his summer AAU team, and then he comes back from 4 to 6 with the college and pro guys back in the gym. For example, tonight he'll go further from 5 to 8:30 with some specific college camps that are looking for players. That tells you the amount of work on a daily basis to be put in. Now, I tell you this as an example of what is your norm. What is your level of normal? And I'll add, tomorrow he's got another 4 hours, which is on a Saturday, and on Sunday he's got another 2 to 4 hours. So it's a full-time deal, but it takes that level of dedication to be something elite. Okay? I tell you that because what is your normal? Because after the first couple days of this almost full-time job, he's telling me, I'm tired. I'm going to get after it, but I'm tired in my body, etc. But that was the first couple days. Over time, there was less complaining. Okay, I don't want to say complaining, but less discussion about being tired or overworked or my body, etc. Mentally drained, I need more rest, etc. Which health is very important to address. But over time, the conversations became less and less about how he felt. To where it has now become his normal to just go through those steps of the process. Okay? And my friends, that is an example of how you actually elevate yourself. Because what is your normal determines what you can become. And the definition of what is your normal is what you believe yourself to be. Okay? If your normal is at a low level, low base, you rather just sit around and play video games or do Netflix and chill and all that. Any type of effort or work outside of that is your limit, because your normal is to just chill and not do much. So when you're required to do more, what do? You complain, you bitch, you procrastinate, you because it's putting you out of your normal. Right? Now, if you do the hard things, you wake up early, you go work out, you take care of your diet, you do your reading, you do all these things. Over time, that becomes your normal. Now you've just elevated yourself. You see how that works? And yes, it's hard. It's a challenge. There's an initial, what I call little speed bump. There's a speed bump along the way, right? When you're in your car, you're going over the speed bump real slow. And if you don't get enough momentum, you roll back. But if you get enough momentum, you roll over the speed bump and then you're cruising again. Except this speed bump is on an uphill ramp, like a parking garage, say, for example, that has speed bumps. So you're driving upward. You're trying to drive upwards, but then there's speed bumps. And not just low speed bumps, but big ones. So you got to get enough momentum to go over that. But once you're over that, now you're new normal. You're coasting again till the next speed bump. So when you elevate your normal, right? The exercise I do is every once in a while when I'm trying to level up, I self-reflect, introspect, become more self-aware, self-focused, as in episode, I forget what episode podcast that was. I said, what is my normal right now? What is my normal right now in terms of my activity, my mindset, my spirituality, my physicalness, my work, my workload, right? I go through all those major aspects of my life, my family. What is the normal? And see where I can elevate again. And I push myself past what I'm normally doing now. Okay? So, for example, if my normal right now is to spend, 30 minutes at the end of the day with the family, and I want to do more, maybe I'm going to invest 10 minutes more and push myself and time manage myself a little bit tighter so that I can allocate now 40 minutes of time to spend more time with my family, my kid, my daughter, son, whatever, my parents, right? Push myself over that extra 10-minute speed bump. Or let's say I want to learn a new subject beyond the knowledge that I know, right? There's multiple ways to do that, right? I can call on mentors to spend more time with people in that field that I want to learn about, or read more books, right? That is the speed bump. And then that becomes my normal. You see how that works? So when my son is telling me, oh man, my body's sore and I'm tired, once you accept that your body will be sore regardless, that's your normal. So now you just go around with a sore body. Instead of worrying about the negative impact of having a sore body, oh man, I can't do this. I'm too tight, I'm too sore, my shot's off, I can't dribble. When you accept that as your normal, now you learn to work with that adversity, to overcome. Okay, my body's sore. I accept that fact. Now let me adjust my technique to do things with the sore body. And you actually elevate your game, because then guess what? When your body is not sore, your skills are even that much better, because you're learning to do it while you're sore. You see how that happens? You're expanding the belief of who you are and what you're about beyond the norm, so that when the norm is back to normal, your limits are already way past that, so you can push yourself further. And that's how you constantly evolve and elevate. You got to put in the reps to create a new normal. You can't just pop off and this is my new normal. You got to put in the reps and build over time, because if not, that speed bump is too high, and you'll never get over the other side to catch momentum. you're just going to roll back down, and then you're going to be stuck, and you're going to feel demoralized, frustrated, unmotivated to pursue your path. But if you redefine yourself periodically, frequently, if you can, on a day-to-day basis of what your normal is, then that's when you can be consistent about your growth. A lot of people say, wake up earlier. Yeah, it's true. Wake up earlier. So if your normal time to wake up is 7, what would an extra hour do for you on a daily basis if you woke up at 6? Now, if you did that consistently, get that extra hour for a whole year, that's an extra 365 hours a year that you've acquired to improve or do whatever you'd like to do. Now you divide that by 24 hours, that's an extra, I don't know, doing the quick math, maybe 15 days. You've gained an extra 15 days out of the year to become better, do what you like, more free time, whatever it is. Okay, but you just can't go from 7 a.m. to 6 a.m. right away, because that's a huge bump. You can start by 10-minute increments. Okay, instead of 7, I'm going to go 6:50. Get used to 6:50. Now your new normal, 6:50. Okay, well, let's bump it 20 minutes now, 6:30. Get used to 6:30. Now your new normal is 6:30. And congratulations, you've gained an extra 7 days out of the year. Right? Now, let's bump it to a half hour, 6 a.m. Well, guess what? Over time, your new normal is 6 a.m. Congratulations, you've gained an extra 15, whatever the math is, days a year. Right? That's how it works. Incremental growth can be defined as incrementally moving up what is normal to you. Because when you do the hard work, when you do whatever it takes, over time, your normal is whatever it takes. And my friends, that's how success happens. Successful people learn to do whatever it takes to be successful. There's no magic formula. I have a lot of friends in my supercar group, very successful, like ultra wealthy. You're talking ultra wealthy. And one of the common things, or they're the type that'll do whatever it takes to be successful. Whatever it takes, because their normal has already been established as, I will do whatever it takes. No bitching, no complaining. It's whatever it takes. So their mentality is set at the temperature of whatever it takes, versus somebody who just lounges around all day long and somebody knocks on the door and says, look, man, all you got to do to be successful is put in an extra hour of work a day. Well, if your normal is just to be a lazy ass, it's going to be hard to put that extra hour a day. It's that simple, my friends, that simple. So my question to you is, what is your normal? What is your normal? Once you define that, the next question, of course, is, what do you want your new normal to be? And get used to that. Now that then becomes your normal. So then the question after that will be, what is your new normal? And so on and so forth as your life graph starts moving upwards in a positive slope. Right? So my friends, what is your normal? What is your normal? Define it. Share it with me. Put it in the comments, write it out, email me, DM me, and I'm happy to provide that feedback to you on how to readjust or how to do your new normal. Okay, my friends? Quick episode on reestablishing your normal and building upon that to become successful. I like to end my episodes as I start them, with gratitude. So thank you all for listening to this episode. If you found some value in this, in defining your normal, please do like, comment, follow, and most importantly, share the show. If you found something valuable, please share the show. If you're knowledgeable, share the show. That's how we grow. And before I close up, I want to give a shout out to TSO Optical, Briar Grove in Houston, Texas. Dr. Butt is the optometrist there who hooked me up with these amazing McLaren sunglasses. These are awesome. And they might look like regular sunglasses to you, but the cool thing about this is if you know anything about McLaren, their trademark is the wing doors that pop open. These sunglasses, the temples and the earpiece, for those of you that are not on YouTube, I'm holding up these sunglasses, but the earpiece and the temples, instead of folding outwards, they actually swing just like the McLaren doors. So they swing open. You see that? They swing open. Try not to break them because they're pretty cool. Now I'm not used to the swing, but shout out to Dr. Butt at TSO Optical Briar Grove in Houston. If you're ever in town and you're looking for a pair of glasses, sunglasses, whatever, prescription or not, please do drop in and say hello and let her know that we sent you from the End-to-End podcast. Not a sponsor, just a gift. And I want to say thank you very much, Dr. Butt, for the generosity of your gift to me in the podcast. But once again, define your new normal. Define your existing normal. Figure out what your new normal is going to be and push yourself in that direction. Get over that speed bump so you can get some momentum. So glad to bring you another episode of the End-to-End podcast. Looking forward to bringing you another one very, very soon. I am very grateful for y'all. So be great today. Be even more grateful.